What's the what manual was your speech coming from?
Respects to speaker. This title was incorrect. The title of my speech is
Our mission to help others help themselves.
right. And I'm speaking to an audience of career counselors. So you guys are career counselors for tonight.
Okay, career counselors. Okay, and our second speaker is Ewing, and the title of your speech is "Struggles Learning English for Native Chinese Speakers." Is that correct? Okay. So we have two speakers tonight. In addition to the speakers, we'll have a table topic session. Our table topics master tonight is Brett. Brett, can you describe your role for us this evening?
We usually choose somebody to be a table topics master that appeals to everybody's, all mavens around the table. Anyway, maven is the word that they correctly use. Basically, we do two things. We do prepared speeches and then we do impromptu. And basically, the table topics master comes up with interesting topics that challenge us. And we have, from the time that we're called upon and get out of our seat to the time we get to the lectern, to do our preparation to speak on the topic. I'm ready to go.
Okay, thank you, Brett. Next, we'll have a evaluation session of our meeting tonight, which is done by our general evaluator and his team. And tonight, our general evaluator is also the president of the club. So, Maurice, if you can tell us what you and your team are going to do for us this evening.
Okay, tonight I will evaluate the meeting in general, and I'm also the evaluator for Yu Ying's speech. And of course, we'll do the reports during the not only evaluating the speech, evaluate the meeting and get reports from the timer and the grammarian.
Okay. And the grammarian for tonight is Mark. So, Mark, if you can give us your duties as the eye counter and what's entailed in your grammarian's report.
You use grammar, so to see how many people use clutch words like and so now people use today's word of the day. Maven is an expert or a pundit or a knowledgeable enthusiast.
Okay, thank you, Mark. And our final role for tonight is going to be Lawrence. He's a evaluator for Julius's speech. So, Lawrence, if you can tell us what you're going to be evaluating for Julius.
Again, the evaluator is evaluating the speeches. We look for content depending on our different books that we have. You can go through and do different types of speeches to perfect different parts of your presentation or leadership abilities and so on. And they follow those guidelines, giving them constructive criticism and also to be able to help them to improve on the things that they already know.
Thank you, Lawrence. Okay. Well, no need to prolong. If we can have our first speaker come up. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I left one row out. Oh, all right. So, Woody, we have an open role for tonight. Can you handle the timer for us?
I would if I had my phone with me. You got a timer? Yeah, sure. I can do it. Yeah,
Okay, and if you can give us a brief explanation of that role also, please.
The timer basically times the prepared speeches, and basically the time speeches go from 5 minutes, you're green, At 6, on this light up here, at 6 minutes you go to amber, and at 7 minutes you're at red, which means stop, depending on the speed. Your table topics go from 1 to 2 minutes. At 1 minute, of course, you're green, 1:30 it goes to amber, and at 2 it goes to red, so you don't want to go over 2 minutes, basically. So, and basically, the timer keeps track of each speech and the time of the speech. Just reports at the end of the meeting, that's all.
Thank you, Woody. All right, so we'll go ahead and start off with our first speaker tonight, which is Julius Armstrong, and he will be speaking to us as career counselors. Is that correct?
Correct.
Let's welcome Julius to the podium.
A New York Times news article reported that Monday morning is the day of the week with the highest number of heart attacks. People are dying to get out of work. And another article mentioned that 50% of workers are dissatisfied with their jobs. Now those reasons alone are enough for us to embrace our job as career counselors. Now our mission as career counselors is to help individuals to clarify their job goals so they can have rewarding and satisfying jobs. The current age to retire is 67. So that means that a person coming out of college at 22 will have to work at least 45 years. Now that's a long time to be dissatisfied. It doesn't have to be that way. Now, I know, for example, I know some females, 2 female teachers who have been in the teaching profession for 50 years. And one of them has recently won the Teacher of the Year at her school. So what does it take to have that level of commitment? Dr. Amy Wojcinski, an associate professor at Yale University, and some other researchers, they have done some classification of jobs. And they cite 3 job orientations. One is a job. A person, individual in this classification is working for benefits, working to support their family or their hobbies. They have very little affiliation to their job or to their job duties. Second classification is a person who has a career orientation. A person in career orientation, they are focusing on aspects of job advancement, promotions, making more money, receiving new titles. And the third orientation is individuals who are in the classification of a calling. Now these individuals, they see their work as integral to who they are. They do it almost, as people say, they would do it for nothing. They really enjoy doing what they do. And they seem to have the most satisfaction and the most outside in their job as well in their personal lives. While there's no right or wrong job orientation, Dr. Wojcinski has found that individuals who perceive their job as a calling do enjoy their jobs more and they enjoy their lives better. Now, as our efforts as career counselors, we help individuals turn their work orientation so they can find work that they enjoy, so they can have a rewarding work career. And we also help individuals determine they might need to leave their job. So we help them determine what a job that would be more appealing to their skill set. You know, our mission helps individuals make decisions that can impact their lives for decades. Now, our mission is to help individuals clarify their work goals and to use perspective so that any job can be a calling or a career once you take the right perspective. Because again, like I said, there is no right orientation. But if you understand that, hey, I'm doing something and making money, I'm supporting my family, I'm supporting myself, then the job itself takes on a different meaning. It's not drudgery. It serves a purpose. And there's a story that illustrates how a worker can, with the right perspective, have all three work orientations. It's about bricklaying. One guy was asked a question, oh, what are you doing? He replied, laying bricks. I asked the second guy, what are you doing it for? He responded, $15 an hour. He asked the third guy, why are you laying bricks? He said, I'm helping build a cathedral. So it doesn't matter what orientation you have or what job you have, it's all about your perspective. And we as career counselors, we have an obligation to help people find out what they want to do so they can have a rewarding and enjoyable work career. Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Joyce. Okay, our second speaker this evening is Ewing, and the title of her speech is Struggles Learning English for Native Chinese Speakers.
Mr. Toastmaster, gentlemen. My title is today is Struggle Learning English for Native Chinese Speakers. I think I should be, but not speakers, it's speaker, that's the thing. I don't know other people's struggle. My struggle is like this. First is pronoun. Pronoun for me is a problem. Because in Chinese, especially for single, we pronounce it the same. It's like ta, ta, for the male, female, and on the material like a dog, like the animal and the pants. But in English, there's like he, she, and it. So when speaking English, I need to thinking about when I mention the male, I need to think, oh, he. And female is she. So always I make a mistake. Sometimes I mean male, but I use she. Sometimes female, I mean use she. No, he. So that's my problem. Pronoun. And for the second one is plural. Plural. So English, if countable nouns, you always plus s. But in Chinese, we don't have the plural. We just put a number. If I say 2 apple, I just 2 apple. But in English, you have to 2 apples. So I always forgot to put the x. So that's the problem for me. So if I talk to something, I not plus s. That's my Chinese impact me. And the third thing is a tense. In Chinese, we have no tense. But in English, it's so confused and the verb. You have to change for the past things, the events. You have for example, like a do. You have your did. You have a doing. You have a do and done and will do. But in Chinese, we don't need to change the verb. We just put on the adverb, like yesterday, today, tomorrow, and the people know you talk what time these things happen. You don't need to change the verb. So I will remember all the verb change. Some verb have a, not like a regular, just put on ed or something. You have to change it different. So that's confusing. And the first thing is sentence. Sentence in Chinese, we not change the verb, the position. But in English, if you ask people's question, you have to switch the verb. You put some do, will, whatever, did, something ahead, and then you put a. So that's always confused me because sometimes I don't know how to change. We don't need to change. If I ask you a question, so what do you do today? And then we just put a question mark. But the sentence is still the same, the order. So you don't need to change the verb. The position. You not switch. Like are you going to watch a movie? You don't need it. You just put you are going to movie and then you put a question mark. The people know you ask question. So this confused me. And the one more thing is really, that's my big problem is this one. I don't know when I put a third. Sometimes I do not need to put third. This THE. So that's very confused about this. Why I write it up. The AC, something like that. And another thing is the pronunciation. My pronunciation also not correct. So people don't understand what I say. So that's confused me. Because I'm speaking the Mandarin, but my Mandarin the impact about the accent in Beijing, because the native Beijing always put like an ER end of the every word. For example, we say flower in Chinese, we say hua. It's like Mandarin, but in native Beijing people, we say put the ER. So we pronounce it like a hua, not a hua. Hua is a Mandarin. But then Beijing the Mandarin is a hua, ER, because you put an ER under the words. So I pronounce English impacted by this. So my daughter always say me, there's no R, you always put the ER. So my English, that's why I'm learning English in my middle school. I came to United States over 15 years, but I cannot speak very good English. That's why I come here. Thank you.
Okay, two very good speeches tonight. Just a comment on each one. The duties I liked your speech about the career counselor. Interesting facts about people have heart attacks the most on Mondays. I can definitely understand it because just don't want to go to work on some Mondays. One thing that I noticed that you said was you said 45 years is a long time to be unhappy working, and I personally work with some people that's been there like a year, and it's like, why would you make everybody else unhappy? You know, why don't you just go find you something else to do if everybody's content where we are, you know? So
Send them to the couch.
that's right. I'll get your contact information. Okay, and then Ewing, really liked your speech, and I hope this makes you feel better, but there are several native English speakers that have the same issues with everything you mentioned. So don't feel like just because you didn't learn English as your first language that, you know, it's that much harder. There's people that's been speaking English for years that have the same issues. So. Okay, so our next session of tonight's program is the table topics. And table topics master tonight is Brett. Thank you, Brett.
Tonight, we're all travel magazine writers. Just get yourself in that frame of thinking. How many people would like to participate in table talks tonight? Yes? Okay. I should.
Yes.
Okay. Well, it's our assignment to talk about unusual and interesting places to live. And as mavens, which we are, is to defend each nice place to live. So, Woody, I'd like you to talk about the merits and how it's, why do you like living next to a nuclear facility? Nuclear power plant.
Okay. So I like living next to a nuclear power plant. Okay. Well, I live in Jacksonville, Florida, and as you know, there's a nuclear power plant there. It's 3 miles down the road. The nice thing about it is it's never dark at night. You can always see it glow from a nuclear power plant. And so you really don't have to worry about street lights. The water that you drink from the fountain has a very interesting taste. It's very tasty. Of course, the only problem with it is if you drink enough of it, you actually glow yourself. The other advantage, I guess, is that things grow much bigger. When I plant my tomatoes, I get tomatoes about this big. Only place I know of where you can get tomatoes like that. I'm trying to think of some other nice things. The animals, you see different types of animals next to the nuclear power plant. I've seen many 4-legged dogs running around, which is kind of unusual. There's 3-legged chickens that you see, and the only bad thing about a 3-legged chicken is you can't catch one. They run so doggone fast. The other advantage, I guess, is that you really don't have a whole lot of neighbors because people really don't like living next to a nuclear power plant. I happen to like it a lot. I like the light at night, the excitement of wondering next time I go to the doctor, am I going to have cancer? You know, so I really love it. It's an enjoyable experience. So thank you for the opportunity.
Charles, I'd like you to talk about living on top of, Charles? Justin, I'm sorry, Justin, living on top of the Matterhorn.
Living on top of the Matterhorn. And by the way, Charles is my middle name, so
Okay.
very close. Okay, living on top of the Matterhorn. I see that as being a great place to live. If you're on top of the Matterhorn, you'd be around fantastic views. You could look down the valleys and see very, very far. The weather would be very difficult there, so I guess that's not a positive, but you get to enjoy the cold, crisp air. You wouldn't have very many visitors, so if you enjoy a lot of time to yourself, you'd have that going for you, because the top of the Matterhorn is very high altitude, it's very hard to reach, so you would rarely have other visitors there. You wouldn't have to worry about new neighbors coming in and making noise or building homes next to you. You'd have that privacy to yourself. As far as other good reasons to live in the Matterhorn, I struggle to come up with other good ideas about this. It'd be a challenging place to live, but I could see that it would have certain advantages depending on your personality and your interests, and how comfortable you would be with that weather and that isolation.
Thank you. Mark, are you in for the topic tonight?
Yes, I am.
Okay, Mark, please describe what it's like to live in a swamp.
Living in a swamp is the ultimate in getting off the grid. You're isolated, you don't have any electrical power, even small generators are difficult. So about the best you can do for electricity is to have some solar panels. But that's not going to be enough to produce all of the electricity that you might need. So you might as well just get used to living a rustic life, getting back to nature. Living in a swamp is what my in-laws used to do. My mother-in-law grew up in Houma, Louisiana, which is definitely a swampy area. And if you've ever seen those swamp people, I forget the guy's name, but he's from Houma, Louisiana, and he goes out to Gator Hunt. He doesn't actually taking advantage of civilization. To really get to know nature, you actually have to live in the swamp, breathe the swamp, eat the swamp. Thank you.
Cody, can you please address living at the bottom of the Grand Canyon?
Good afternoon, everyone. Today I'm going to talk about the beauty of living at the bottom of the Grand Canyon. So, when you're trying to get a little peace and quiet, it's a pretty easy place until tourist season kicks in. There's some fun things you can do to kind of get back at the tourists. I like to play the practical jokes on them, dress up like a bear, chase after the tourists, things like that. It's pretty fun. There's a lot of good scenery in the Grand Canyon if you like looking at red rock all the time. If you're a rock collector, it might be something you're into. Interesting rocks you can find in the Grand Canyon. Also a nice thing about the Grand Canyon, if you have arthritis or anything like that, the air is very dry, so it's good. Good place to maybe retire. You can pull your camper in between the canyon, settle down. It's very hot in the Grand Canyon. If you're warm-blooded, you like to get out in the heat, get a suntan. It's a nice place to catch a tan. And those are a few fun facts about the Grand Canyon. Thank you, guys.
Keith, your assignment is living next to a landfill.
Thank you, Toastmasters. The best thing about living next to a landfill is I have the opportunity to actually turn someone else's garbage to my personal treasure. You don't know how many things I've found at the landfill that people have just thrown away. I have no idea why people throw such nice furniture and leftover half-eaten food. My dog has a ball every time we go out to the landfill. He can get whatever he wants to eat and play with all the toys that have been dispersed in the landfill. One of the other things that I love about living next to a landfill is when the west air blows downstream, the smell that comes through my windows from living at the landfill. No better smell than that. It's year-round, so I end up burning a lot of trash out back to, try to cover that smell up. But just in the middle of the day, it's one of the best smells you can ever imagine. So those are a couple of reasons I love living next to a landfill. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thanks, sir. Toastmaster, I'm sorry. I'd like to turn the lectern back over to you, Toastmaster. Thanks, sir.
Thank you. All right, we have some interesting table topics this evening. Thank you for our guests for participating. I know this can be kind of, what's the word I want to use? Can be kind of intimidating. We're all not Maven level speakers in here, so just feel free to come on up next time. Don't hesitate. So the next part of our meeting this evening is our evaluation session, and I'm going to have our general evaluation.
Fellow Toastmasters and honored guests, our evaluation for tonight, first I'll go over the meeting itself. Meeting started on time, no need for a recess. We went over some club business and some that needs to be taken care of still, and that'll be taken care of. Now for the first evaluation of the first speech will be given by Lawrence.
Good evening, Toastmasters and honored guests. This evening I get the pleasure and the opportunity to evaluate one of Julius's speeches. Julius is a really good speaker. I like what he does. And I've watched him do many speeches before. This speech, I think, was a little bit less than your usual high standard. But it was a very good speech. It asks how effectively did he convey his vision and mission. And I think he did a really good job with that. He showed us many different ways to try to inspire us, to inspire people, which is in this scenario was our mission, to inspire people to follow their dreams, become the type of people that can go out and work. And I think he did that well. I think that one of the things he wanted was for us to understand the value of helping people to figure out what they enjoy and become, make that into their lifetime profession. It asked if he used stories and anecdotes. He did, and one of the good ones was the bricklayer. And it struck a note with me because I work in the maritime industry, and I don't know how many people come out and work on boats because they can make so much money, and they're absolutely miserable. It's like, you know, they say that it's like being in prison with the opportunity of drowning. So I can understand how people that are just doing it for the money can have a miserable existence for their entire working career. And that really made a lot of sense. The one thing that I think that he could have done better, I think that there was a little bit less preparation in this one than usual. I did notice he was shuffling his flashcards a little bit more than usual. He usually gives a very good speech and so on. And I think that he did do a lot of research on this because he had a lot of facts and a lot of information from various different leaders and mavens of the industry that he used in his speech. So I think he did a very good job, and I'm really looking forward to hearing him go into his next book, because that's the last one of this book. Congratulations. Mr.
All right, thank you. Now I will go into the evaluation of Yu Ying's speech. And the title of her speech was Struggle Learning English for Chinese Speakers. Is that correct? And I'll go over each of the points under project number 1, which is the icebreaker speech. And it says, what strong points does the speaker already have? She's able to explain the topic in detail. How well did the audience get to know the speaker? Very well. The audience became aware of some of the differences between English and Chinese Mandarin, to be specific. Did the speech reflect adequate preparation? Yes. Did the speaker talk clearly and audibly? Yes. Did the speech have a definite opening, body, and conclusion? Yes. Please comment on the speaker's use of notes. Besides visual aids, I didn't really observe too much of her referring to notes. What could the speaker have done differently that would have improved the speech? The only thing I put down was larger visual aids, except for the last one. That last one stood out. I guess if you were sitting up front, you were able to see it, but from where I was sitting, I couldn't see it. What did you like about the presentation? What I liked about it was how she demonstrated the differences in the usage of language between English and Mandarin. And besides that, I like what Kedrick said, that even native-born English speakers aren't necessarily mavens in the language. So that's my evaluation for Yu Ying's speech. Now we will go to the grammarian's report with Mark.
I think the theme of tonight's meeting was filler words. We have a challenge with filler words today. Before I get into that, I wanted to talk about the word of the day. I have Brett, Lauren, and Kedry using the word of the day. Did I miss anybody?
Maurice just used it.
Maurice just used it. Okay, I missed that. So, Maurice good. I didn't catch him with any others. Two. Huey. Actually, I caught 5 and then 3 double clutches where you twice in a row, or multiple times in a row. So you would say Leica. That's what I mean by a double clutch. I will add, I really liked how your speech was organized. You numbered the points, so you said first, second, third. That was very good. Cody, you're a guest, and so I congratulate you on getting up and speaking table topics. One of the things to think about is your use of uhs and ums. But on a table topic, you don't have time to practice. If you decide to join, and your first speech is what's called the icebreaker, practice not having any filler words. Justin, I had to stop counting. That's one of the things you need to work on.
Yes.
Uhs and ums. Brett, I only counted 1 Lawrence, I got 5 2 double clutches. Woody, I didn't get any uhs or ums, but you did hit on my pet peeve. You wanted to turn the lectern over.
Oh, gosh.
You don't turn the lectern over
Yeah.
unless we're angry. Move the meeting over, or control of the lectern over. We won't turn the lectern over.
Okay. I'm trying
Unless you want to make a point that you're mad. Keekery, I got 7 ums and 1 so. So I think that's what we want to work on is clutch words. Try and just have a pause. If you have a strategic pause in your speech, you can have a pretty strong impact. If you fill that pause with so that's all very important for the night.
Now we will go to our timer's report, and Woody has the timer's report.
Julie's speech was 5 minutes and 15 seconds. Ewing was 6:05. Woody's table topic was 6:05. Woody's table topic was 1:19. Here, Justin.
Yes.
Justin was 1 minute 10 seconds. Mark was 1 minute 35 seconds. Cody was 1:07. Kedrick was 1:07. Lawrence's evaluation of Julius was 2 minutes and 20 seconds. And Maurice's evaluation of Julian was 2 minutes and 14 seconds.
Thank you. I believe that concludes the evaluation. Toastmaster.
Okay. Looks like we don't, well, I'm not sure if we have anyone scheduled for this educational overview for the evening. If you have anyone that can give an educational overview.
Do you have anything? Maurice, do you have anything for an educational overview?
I have the club leadership handbook. I could just briefly go over a few points from the club leadership handbook. Okay, what I want to do is just briefly touch on some of the positions and some of the descriptions of the positions, not the whole job description. And I'll start with the club president. The brief description is, as a person who sets the tone for the club, you are expected to provide helpful, supportive leadership for all of the club's activities. You motivate, make peace, and facilitate as required. Though you must occasionally step in and make a difficult decision, rarely do so without consulting club members and other club officers. Strive to show respect for all members, even when you don't agree with them, and provide leadership for all. And some of the responsibilities for the president is preside over meetings, earn distinguished club recognition, lead and guide. Next, I'll go to the Vice President of Education. As Vice President of Education, you schedule member speeches and projects and serve as a resource for questions about education awards, speech contests, and a mentor program. You are an important source of Toastmasters knowledge for club members, and it is your job to become familiar with all aspects of the Toastmasters education program. Some of the responsibilities: coordinate club schedule, assist with education awards, plan speech contest, manage mentor program. Next position, Vice President Membership. You promote the club and manage the process of bringing in guests and transforming them into members. By initiating contact with guests, making them feel welcome, or providing them with the information they need to join, you help maintain a constant influx of new people into your club. You also attentively monitor membership levels and strategize with the rest of the executive committee about how to overcome membership challenges when they occur. Some of those responsibilities: recruit new members, conduct membership building programs, assist guests, process membership applications. Vice President of Public Relations. You promote the club to the local community and notify the media about the club's existence and the benefits it provides. You promote the club, update web content, and safeguard the Toastmasters brand identity. It is your job to notify the media whenever your club does something newsworthy. And some of those responsibilities: publicize the club, safeguard Toastmasters brand, trademarks and copyrights. Next position, secretary. You maintain all club records, manage club files, handle club correspondence, and take the minutes at each club and executive committee meeting. You are also in charge of updating and distributing a roster of the current paid membership and keeping the club officer list current for Toastmasters International. So some of the responsibilities: taking notes, maintaining files, report new officers. Treasurer. You're the club's accountant. You manage the club's bank account, writing checks as approved by the executive committee, and depositing dues and other club revenues. You are also in charge of submitting membership renewal dues to world headquarters, accompanied by the names of the renewing members, filing necessary tax documents, and keeping timely, accurate, and up-to-date financial records for the club. And some of those responsibilities are: oversee accounts, collect membership dues, pay bills. Sergeant at Arms. You keep track of the club's physical properties, such as the banner, lectern, timing device, and other meeting materials. You arrive early to prepare the meeting place for members and stay late to stow all the club's equipment. And some of the responsibilities: tend to club property, coordinate club meetings, and that is it for the club leadership positions.
Thank you, Maurice. Okay, the next portion of our meeting is for us to review the agenda for next week's meeting, and I'm gonna ask Lawrence to help us with that.
All right, for next week's meeting, I would like to ask once again for everyone to please let me know if you want to do something during a meeting. Otherwise, I just have to hook you up and hope that you agree to it. And especially for speaking positions. If you can log on and say, I want to do a speech, and give me a time frame when you'll be ready for that speech, I can very easily get you hooked in. Otherwise, I have to just kind of pull a name out of the hat every week, and then you may not be ready, and so on. So next week I have for speakers, I have Woody and Heather. Whether either, will you be ready next week? Probably not. Okay, see, again. So I will have to change that, but Heather is down. She was supposed to do one a few weeks ago and was unable. So I'm going to try again, see if she can get in. And I do need another speaker for next week. Is there anyone who would like to be a speaker next week? Don't all jump up at once. All right, anyways, I will pick somebody out and let you know who you are. Okay, and as far as any other position, again, I haven't, I should have gone through and just picked people out, but I haven't done that yet. So I'm going to get, this week I'm going to definitely get a couple weeks ahead of time. I've been remiss in my responsibilities to go ahead with that. So that's all I have for next meeting.
Okay. Well, I will relinquish the lectern back to our president.
Looks like we went over everything on the agenda, so we have 9 minutes left. Is there anything any concerns or anything that office?
Okay, one thing I would like to suggest, in the previous times in this club and in many other clubs, they do have a audible signal that they use to help people to overcome ums and ahs and those kind of things. In some clubs, they use a bell. Again, many years ago in this club, they used to have, you'd bring in a roll of pennies or dimes or something, forget what it was, but every time you'd said one, somebody would throw a dime in, and that's how they had their coffee money. Now here we don't need that, but it would make enough noise because all the coins that are in there in a tin can that it was and I found that to be very effective for me. And for a long time I got to the point where I was using almost no ums and ahs, and somehow I've realized in the past couple of months it seems like I've gotten back into that, and I don't even notice it. So I think that would be something that we could think about, maybe getting a bell or something that we could use to remind people when they do that.
Just in your personal experience, was that distracting from your speech at all, or having that?
At one point, yes. In the very beginning, it was, but you get used to it. And then, and the point was that you want to get used to it. You want to get to the point where you can deal with a little bit of distraction from your audience. And it's such a minor distraction, it's like oh shoot, I did it again. And then you go on with your speech. But at a point, it was like, okay, I don't want to hear that again. So I'm going to not use that. And then you focus more on not using those filler words. I think the minor bit of distraction was, the benefit much outweighed the distraction that was there. In my experience. I don't know, how do you feel? You used to do that, right? Were you here when they did that?
No, but I think it'd be.
You were here when they did that, right?
I don't remember them ever doing, I've heard of them doing that.
Oh, that was way back when they were over at the school there, back in the last century.
Didn't we attempt to do that like earlier this year? Did
We
someone-
talked about it, but we never did anything.
Oh, we could try it.
You want to put a vote?
Mark?
Yeah, Lawrence, I'm just gonna say that in my previous club, we would do that from time to time, and sort of optional for the grammarian if they wanted to do it. It actually, it helped me a lot, but I think it could get distracting if it was done all the time. It sort of loses the effectiveness. But if the club wants to buy something like that, what we did at the other club was we had a clicker used for dog training, and you feel like a dog when you start saying oh, you hear that click. So I'd be faithful to doing this, but not making it a requirement that the grammarian use the device, whatever device it ends up being.
I think we could let the speaker, if the speaker decided that they did not want that distraction, they could opt out of it. I think that would work also. But I think it would be a good idea, especially for those who feel like they can handle it. It's a very good method of training. That's why they use them on dogs, right? Because it's a good method of training.
Yeah.
We could just stop it after 3, you know, the person speaking, they've already heard it 3 times, they know they need to correct something.
Yeah. So,
Okay, is there anything else, any other concerns, any points that they want to bring up about anything else?
Can we hear from the guests?
Okay,
We'll take a-
is there anything about your experience
No,
of this
I
meeting?
enjoyed it. Appreciate you guys for letting me into your club for the afternoon. It was a good experience for me. I
Okay,
enjoyed it. Thank
all
you.
right. And this is your second week in a row here, so I think you would get into the flow of it.
Well, I see how the meeting structure works, and a comment about the which I just used. When I was speaking, I wasn't even aware that I was saying that. If you had asked me how many times I would have said during my speech, I would have said, I'm sure I said it a couple of times, but I wasn't even aware of how often I was using it. But I appreciate the opportunity to do this, and this is something that I want to work on and get better at. I think it's important for my career and a lot of other things, so this is a great group and a good opportunity.
All right. We have less than 3 minutes left. One more point. I will attempt to send the Club Success and the Moments of Truth again, and this time I'll send the receipt and mark it urgent. And if you get it twice, then you just get it twice. If nothing else, the meeting is adjourned.
what's that?
Next week, all.
Okay.
So some on this
Yeah,
list.
okay, we
So,
can,
but
can
phone week, I can do the
Okay,
camera.
all right, I'll try
Okay.
again.
Not
I get
next
this
week.
every week.
Mainly with sick.
Okay.
Period.
So you want to do what?
No, check
2 weeks?
Let me see the
Yeah.
file. Is there a
Okay.
file? You
I'm
have
in
a file
another
size
club,
limit.
and we do, I'm not in Toastmasters,
Next
but,
Monday.
Okay, I'll
it's the same way where you prorate.
What email do you have?
Okay, I really enjoyed your speech. You're actually a very good speaker. I think that you made your point very
I'll
well.
send it again.
And you
mark the receipt.
well, I had to come back. You were, and that was good. You know, and people were laughing, and that's a hard thing to do sometimes. To get, and I looked around and everybody was really involved. So you did very well. I was quite happy. I was kind of, in, you know, not anything against you, but I was kind of surprised because sometimes you seem very, very subdued and quiet, you know? And then you get up and you gave this awesome speech. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you.
I did.
Very good.